Every week, they look at the tech and business world and turn let's take this offline into an episode. Updates, reviews, and the occasional interviews. Sounds smart? It's not. We just said it with conviction. A lot of smart people already do this. But these guys have a lot of opinions and barely any filters, which maybe should concern you, or not. They seem nice. Anyway, this series comes from people who probably shouldn't be doing more streams, or at the very least, should have left some of their thoughts in a Slack thread. Unread by everyone. And now, this is Rob and Saj Asking for Trouble!
Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. This is Margot and Saj Asking for Trouble. Rob is on vacation for 2 weeks and I've replaced them with much smarter people. Rob, we'll see if you get a chance to come back. Welcome, Margot, to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I absolutely love your promo video. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun, right? Like, I think anything that is fun and is not related to what we were originally planning is something Rob and I excel at. If you see his opening videos are like, I really like his opening video as well. We conceptualize it together. It was super fun, and I'm right now making one for Val as well. So like, I think that's going to be my job now. I think for fun,
Okay,
I
you
just
know, like
make
if
promo
you
videos.
get tired of being not less than expert, you can also,
Yeah,
earn some money doing some
yeah,
videos and promos and
yeah. Hey,
that
Charlene.
other stuff closer to marketing.
Yeah. That's the idea. But yeah, very excited about today's episode. It's something that my team is currently actually working on. We're working on OKRs because we recently had the reorg, and it's been a conversation that I've wanted to have for a while. When I was looking for people who would be the right people to have this conversation, uh, yours was the first name that came up in the search. Let's just say that. It's like, oh, okay, Margot has done a lot of conversation around OKRs. She's a perfect candidate for this conversation.
I've definitely done. What about your journey? How long has it been? How does it feel right now?
It's nice. I mean, like what we've started this. Are you Robin Saj Asking for Trouble for almost 18 weeks. We started it before Anaheim, and we've been doing this for a while. But yeah, I mean, there are a bunch of other things that we do. So Atlassian community is an amazing place. I'm just excited to like meet new people and just talk to much smarter people, and that's how I've learned always, just speaking to more smart people than me always. That's it. That's a hack. That's a trick.
A good one. What about OKRs? How long has it been already?
Terribly misinformed on it. So, but like I will not start the conversation from there. Charlene, hi, Jan Horn, EU. If I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, please tell me your spelling as well in the chat. Please, you can use chat to ask your questions from Margot. And the question that she just asked me, I'm gonna actually ask you, but twist it a little. Do you know your company's OKRs? Do you live by them? Do you know the gist? Do you see them quarterly? Or okay, what are OKRs, and do you know your company's OKRs? You can use 1, 2, 3, 4 in the chat to comment and vote, and when you do, we'll automatically see them. For me personally, I've recently switched organization. I'm still in the process. I switched my companies and was in the middle of a massive reorg. So everything is being redone. So for me, it's somewhere between the fourth and the third one. But prior to that, it used to be a big thing that my teams used to work with. Like we used to be fairly aligned to the OKRs for the organization, and it used to work in a like. I think it's very organizational dependent. Like one organization would be very good, another would be like, okay, what? Right? Exactly what you would think. What do you think?
I would actually have follow-up questions to the audience about related to OKRs. I don't see the chat, unfortunately. Maybe you can then voice it over.
Sure. Yeah.
The question I always love to ask is, do you know what your company's mission is? Because sometimes, and I'm diving into OKRs, into the most common mistakes. Quite often, the struggle is because people outline fantastic goals, but they are just not that much aligned with the broad company strategy, with the broad vision for many years, and that's why you can hit your goals perfectly, but they're not moving the organization forward. So maybe you
Sure.
can just drop in a chat, like, do you remember that? That vision statement or that mission statement that is moving your company forward, because that is quite an issue. Many people do not. Most of them don't.
So are you saying, like, even before we talk of OKRs, we first have to talk about mission and vision of the organization?
Absolutely. The missions, the vision, the overall strategy. This is such an important conversation, and it's often missed. People just jump straight into the weeds. And
Sure.
they, look, right now there are so many tools. For example, if you are using Rovo, there is OKR generator that can write amazing OKRs for you. There are also many other tools who can generate fantastic goal-oriented goals, even outcome-oriented goals. You don't need. It seems like you don't even need to read a book. You can just ask AI to generate these goals for you.
Sure.
But quite often, the price is that people are skipping that initial stage quite
But
often.
like, you can make the AI write OKRs, but you can't make AI follow OKRs,
Uh,
right?
it is really tricky. So it can help you with the direction. It can help you with the brainstorming. You can, of course, you can feed your context. I see the person loves Rovo OKR generator. So maybe you can share in a chat how you use it, what are use cases, how many people within the organization use it. I've actually done a webinar on it, I think like a year ago when it was like a new thing. And I think it's really helpful within that lesson ecosystem. But
I don't think many people know that Robo has an OKR generator.
Oh, they do, and now you know, and now you can practice. And even again, if you are not using Rovo, there are also, you're probably using Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, and you can find the right skills
Sure.
to generate it for you. I can actually send some skills for Claude if anyone is
Nice.
interested.
Charlene says it provides me great ideas. That's interesting.
It is great.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was saying, okay, okay, the first step, we've talked about what is the mission and the vision for the organization. What next? How do you define OKRs?
There are different paths. Different organizations do it in a different way. So some, like the ideal scenario that we are discussing is that a mixture of cascading the goals to your teams and the mixture of bottom up, when the teams come with the goals and then you meet together and you're having this collaboration session. That's not always how things happen. And it's a dream. Everyone is coming forward. What I see
Sure.
right now with our customers at Allboard, for example, some customers lean more into having more of the cascading from the top to the bottom. Some of them more lean to giving the team this independence and this creativity and this flexibility. So it depends a lot on the culture of organization and how you
Okay.
execute it. And I have a very interesting story about a customer who I was thinking he's doing OKRs all the wrong way. I was trying like to coach him, and actually he was right in the end. So I've got
Okay.
a customer who worked in a very traditional, in a tech department of a very traditional agricultural company, and he was showing the OKRs planned for the next quarter, and basically there were like 0 metrics there. There were like a
Sure.
goal, and then there were like long list of Jira tasks. And it's already something, like, but I was trying like to be, delicate and say like, hey, maybe we will think how we will measure that success. And he was like, oh, I know what you're doing. And I know OKRs, and I've implemented it at my previous company, But for our specific use case, if I push it right to the people, they will not accept it. They will not like it. They will abandon
Sure.
it. So we are doing it gradually. So for the first year, they were teaching people to link their work to high-level objectives. It's a simple
Okay.
exercise. It will not get
Sure.
scary, and there is a flexibility to do it. There is and they were like learning to think about objective. And then from the second year, they were starting gradually implementing the metrics within the departments. And if
So they actually went the other way. Like usually it would come from top down, right?
yeah, and they also like they were not thinking about metrics. Again, that is not the perfect scenario. If you have a very high outcome metric oriented culture within your company,
Sure.
that would be great to bring the metrics from the very beginning. But sometimes you need to think about your culture and what people will accept. And you need to take this wonderful John Doerr's book, and you can think like, okay, how do I adapt it to my organization so that people accept it, so that they don't scared, so that they don't
Sure.
think that they will get fired, or that they do not get their bonuses or the other stuff. So
Sure.
that is the most important question, I guess, for the very beginning.
That's a very interesting question. So just related to that, I'm gonna pull up another poll because this is something that I wanted to do as well. Let me stop the earlier poll. By the way, almost 50% of the audience said I see my OKRs for company quarterly, and almost 50% said OKR what? Like they don't even know what their OKRs are. Okay, so as Margot has just mentioned, let me share another poll. Should OKRs be tied to performance reviews?
Oh, this is a
So
good one.
use 1, 2, 3, 4 in the chat. While you do that, I actually jumped the gun a little bit. I'm just realizing that, Margot, we didn't even have you introduce yourself to this chat or this group. Can you, for people who may not know you from community led classes already, can you do a quick introduction about you and maybe a little about OBOD as well?
Of course. So I'm Margot Sakala. I'm Atlassian Community Champion, and I'm also leading the marketing function at OBOD. OBOD is one of their marketplace partners. And basically what we do a wonderful OKR app for tracking your OKRs within Jira and also Confluence. The thing is, we always go beyond just being a tool. And I personally invest a lot into webinars, into articles, into guides, and that is the whole team. I'm very proud to say that the whole our marketing team is OKR certified. Even, the SEO writers who are just writing SEO optimized copy, they go through this certification. So they are very knowledgeable of the subject. And it's the same and the same for the whole company. And this is one of the reasons I am on this podcast, because I love the framework and I love to help people to be successful with it, whatever tool they use. So that is about me.
Yeah, I'm sure people would have, like, specifically if people are joining us from community led classes, people would have seen you. There are people joining in the chat saying, "Hi, Margot, we went to the same college."
Nice. Very, very nice. I see. Yeah, it was Kiev Polytechnic Institute back in Kiev, Ukraine. Right now, my family and I will live in Bulgaria, but I'm another interesting fact. I'm a Ukrainian originally, and also I maintain my champion status for organizing Atlassian community events for the Kyiv chapter in Ukraine. So basically, I'm traveling more than 24 hours one way to host these events for my favorite city, for my favorite country.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah.
Do you organize events in Bulgaria as well?
I do not. There is a team there already. They are doing great, and I think like it's really important for us to support Ukraine and to make this community thriving, because like Ukraine is the country who, to my mind, needs like lots of support, and I'm trying to give more of my energy there.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Thank you for that. And let's come back to the conversation. So people are saying, okay, I should be tied to performance. There's some people, 75% people are saying somewhat, 25% people are saying it's a dangerous idea. What do you think, Margot? Should they be tied to performance reviews?
So in some way, yes. So what I'm trying to say, if you set up an OKR for the team and you say that you get your bonus if you hit your OKR, that will not work because people will try to make it more, conservative to make sure they get their paycheck check. And a lot of teams, like for example salespeople, they live mostly on their paychecks. Of course they will
Sure.
care about setting the metric that will not be risky so that they can
Sure.
bring their bacon home. But
Sure.
another angle is that, and it's a trap. Like people hear that you shouldn't tie your OKRs to your performance reviews, and sometimes people make individual goals, like go in absolutely different direction from OKRs. So for a person, it becomes a hard choice, stretching in two different directions. So one, it seems to be like the company level most important direction, most important goal on the one hand, and on the other hand, this is the goal that will bring the money home. So that is not a good idea. Ideally, that should move in the same direction, but not be tied specifically together. Because again, it results just in sandbagging, and we don't want it here.
Okay. But like, do you think it changes on the size of the organization, or do you think it's impervious to that fact?
Well, it depends. I know that a lot of, again, I will be sharing my experience with our customers. So they sometimes they use our tool for performance management, but what they do, they don't. They use the OKR structure, because the structure of OKR is actually it's good for individual performance. Like you have this objective in general, and then you have metrics of this to measure success. So what they do, they just create private workspaces where they have very limited, visibility for them, and they are often related to education. They are often related to how people excel at their job, how they are acquiring new skills. So that is, I think, a good way to go. And sometimes you can also blend in KPIs there. So for example, you have some of the day-to-day metrics that your team needs to hit. So that is where what can be tied to performance reviews, obviously.
Sure.
But yeah, OKRs kind of a dangerous path. I saw also, interesting scenarios when some companies were paying bonuses based on the mixture of signals. So they were having like individual goals, then the revenue goals of the whole company, and then the goals of the department, and they were having like the weights for each of them. But for the beginning, if you're just getting started, don't do that. It's a recipe to make your team hate OKRs, honestly.
Sure, makes sense. Okay, let me also ask you this, because this is something that we currently are in the middle of, right? So we are trying to draft our OKRs and understand how the new reorg will function. So one thing that we are struggling with is with its structure, right? So like, I would like to ask everybody else on the chat as well, what's your biggest struggle? Fourth, I think, is something that all of us will have at some point, but if you're setting them up, picking the right goals, measuring the outcomes, or staying focused, what is the biggest struggle when it comes to your OKRs? While people respond, Margot, what do you think? Do you think one of them is bigger than the other, or do you think all of them actually relate to each other?
Well, they're all connected, obviously. So the right
Biggest,
goal
if I
for
had to ask
measurement.
you to pick one, yeah.
Okay, I would vote for actually using them, honestly,
Okay.
because quite often people, end of the year before Christmas, everyone present this wonderfully, beautifully designed slide decks with a bold strategy, bold goals, and then by March, everyone forgets about the deck and even doesn't know how to find it. So actually getting started, it might not be perfect, like it might be not the textbook, but you get started, you experiment, you become better. This is the way to success. And often, it doesn't always need to be like a full scale rollout. Again, ideal scenario that you have the full scale rollout for your company, then
Sure.
you go to the teams. But again, what I see with some of our customers, they start with a pilot team. So they some of the teams are more conservative, some of the teams are more innovative. It's happening within each organization. So you can start with a pilot team. You can also test on them what specifically works for your culture, for your organization, and then you can do the summary, and then you can move it broader. So
I think almost all the audience, it's like 100% votes say it's hard to measure the outcome of providing value, and which is measuring outcomes. What would be one tip, like if I ask you to give some tips on how people can measure their outcomes?
yeah, so on outcomes, there are a couple of things here. So first, you need to find the right metric, and also you need to understand whether you can track it. So also
Okay.
one of the traps is you're thinking about, oh, that would be a perfect metric to track, but you don't have a system yet, and then you spend like half of your cycle setting up how you would track it, and then you
Sure.
cannot do that. So there is a mixture depending on where you are in your journey.
Okay.
So, for example, I know that engineering departments quite often they do most of the output-based OKRs. They have like huge initiatives, they have huge projects. They link their Jira issues underneath the key results because they are planning the massive launch, and that launch is a key result on themselves. And for some of the teams, especially when you are doing a lot of foundational operational work, that is one of the ways. Then when we are looking about on the metric side, you need to think about the time when you will see the first result. So, for example, the metric that you put for the whole year, I know it can be one of the metrics could be the revenue, right? But then
Sure.
when you put it like to each quarter, you need to think like about your length of the sales cycle. You need to think about seasonality, about a lot of stuff. So you can think about some smaller, more frequent metrics. If we're talking again, I work in a marketing team, so for me it's a very easy example. So we have like our ideal metric is like marketing influenced revenue, right? But if we start tracking it from the 1st of January, we will be at risk, right? We because it
Sure.
takes time. It takes time. People get started. They get to know us. They start talking to us. They implement. They start paying. They purchase some additional courses. So that is a journey. So for each time period, you need to think like, when would I see the result? So if you're setting a quarterly objective, then you need to understand, okay, I need to see the result at least within 2 weeks. If it's like 2 weeks and I see zero result and I cannot track it, and I need to wait till the end of the quarter to see the first result, it will
Yeah.
not help me. It will not guide me through this period. So
Sure.
that's a balance. And sometimes you are not like going for the super outcome metric. Sometimes you don't have enough data, and you are, picking something in the middle that you can measure, and then you build a hypothesis about how it can influence. So that is the way you again, Charlene, please put in the comments like your experience. How do you find that balance? That would be really interesting. And if I haven't like
Yeah.
answered the question in full, feel free to follow up.
Yeah, please, folks, if you're using YouTube or even LinkedIn, please mention on chat how do you maintain that balance. While people do that, Margot, tell us an example, because I'm sure you would have seen a lot of failed attempts at OKR. Tell us a funny one. Tell us something that you saw without maybe naming the name of the company.
Yeah,
Tell us
I
a
can tell
funny
my
attempt.
own. I can tell my own for
Okay.
sure. That I guess that one I'm allowed to tell. I was at one of my previous jobs, and I remember that pre-Christmas meeting when everyone
Sure.
was showing the slide deck, and I remember the CEO was like, he was very inspirational. He was very, like thinking about the future, and he was like saying, guys, we are now changing the whole principles of how we work together because we are implementing OKRs. And that was the first time I actually heard about it. I was like googling in parallel, what does it mean? It was like,
Yeah.
so it means right now that you need to make really bold goals. So our goal for the next year would be to double the company revenue. So marketing, sales, go get it. And I remember that was like this dead silence there. And I remember talking me with my colleagues, and they were like, "Okay, what do we do? Are we getting fired for not hitting that?" There was no, discussions about extending teams, about external budgets. There was like, go get it, guys. And I remember that was super scary. End result, the goal was not achieved, obviously. And also, like, a couple of people left the company along the way, and specifically the people who were working with the OKRs, because like that wasn't that did not felt like a safe place to stay. And people were just, okay, maybe I should I should look elsewhere. Yeah, so there are different stories like that, and actually, I would like to bring that question back to the audience. Maybe you've seen some, no, maybe not yours. Maybe your friend had a situation like that, a funny one that you can share.
Yeah. So before I move on, Rob says ironic that Margot mentions Googling since OKR were invented. So fun fact, Bob, I don't think OKRs were invented at Google. I think they were invented at Intel. That's again a quiz fact that I know. They were made popular at Google, but I think they were originally created by Intel. That was the company which first found. Somebody fact check me. Google that, right, and then tell us in the chat if that is correct. Anyways, so yeah, that's a great story, Margot. I will pause you there on one aspect, because something that you said about hitting OKRs reminded me of this poll that I wanted to do. So your team hits 100% of its OKRs. Is that a success, or is it not 100% sure? Is it suspicious, or you probably set your OKRs or your benchmarks too low? What does it tell you?
Another great question.
Right, because this is exactly what you were talking about. If people meet OKRs, like for example salespeople, they have to. So are you saying that you probably set your OKRs too low? Is it suspicious that people are hitting their OKRs, or is it a success?
Like Sajid, I will definitely steal some of your polls for my upcoming webinars.
Please.
They're really good.
Mm-hmm. All right, people are saying you probably set them too low. Do you agree? And people are saying it's suspicious if you hit 100% of your OKRs.
Uh, Again, it comes back to the company culture. So in some
Okay.
company cultures, you are expected to hit 100%. Like what I noticed within our customers, many times, like specific for the Germany companies, for companies in Germany, they are very much getting used to hit this 100%.
Okay.
And it comes to definition of what do you think is on track, and
Okay.
how do you calibrate it within the reality. So the standard is like, if you hit 70%, that is a green light, that is good already. If you hit like 200%, that is something, like you probably have underestimated yourself, or you were doing that sandbagging. So
Sure.
depends on the company expectations, and that should be set from the very beginning. So what do we expect from these OKRs? So how we expect our teams to act, what would be the consequences? The good answer is that you will not have consequences for not hitting 100%.
Sure.
And it's more about exploration, a lot about exploration. When you set up the KPIs, you know the drill already. You probably have the history of what was before, and you're like you're not changing anything significantly, right? You're just you're monitoring it. I like very much the naming brief list for those type of metrics. Like you must have them, you must hit them. It's an no-brainer. If you are exploring something, if you are testing something, and OKRs are supposed to be the instrument for change management, the instrument for that significant change, not just small change, not like 1.1% change, like a huge change. So that that is kind of suspicious. But again, some of the companies, they set it that way, that you are expected to hit 100%. Again, comes to the company culture, I think.
Sure.
But setting them too low, yes, that is the most that is the most common way, because if everything is green, and then we are questioning ourselves, were we ambitious when we were setting it up, or were we just like thinking about the arithmetic? And it's, like, it's not only think to question yourself, like when you do the review and you see you see the numbers, you see the scores, you need also to think like, were these the right metrics? Maybe there were some vanity metrics here, because sometimes we see that everything is green, but it's not like it haven't brought us the results we hoped for. So it might be the situation that you set up the wrong metrics for your objective, because you're thinking like, okay, we will define success by these metrics. You check them out, but you don't see this change. So
I really like that statement you made, that OKRs are the instruments of change management. Like, such a fun thing to write on a t-shirt. I work with instruments of change management instead of just saying I work with OKRs. But by the way, just adding on to what you were saying. So do you think when you're setting them up, you should aim them really ambitiously? Or again, it's not a one size fits all kind of an approach?
So I've seen a couple of classifications, and what we actually do with my team internally, we have a custom field which states what type of OKR it is. So we have committed ones, we have aspirational ones, and we have learning ones. Learning ones, so most of the OKRs have just this committed and aspirational. Learning is not broadly used, but it's for something, like full terra incognita. Like we know zero. Like it's just we base our assumption on some hypothesis with very little amount of data, and we state that, okay, this is a learning. We understand that we will not probably hit 100%. We don't know, and it's also some of the OKRs that are potential candidates to being abandoned even in the middle of the cycle if we see that this is not working. Because again, not set in stone. If you see that it's not working, it's not bringing results, you don't need to like move it forward just because you thought that it would be relevant and it's not anymore.
Makes sense. Okay, let me ask you a question that is very controversial, if I may say. In the expanded age of deploying AI at every step of the way, do you think OKRs need to start reflecting how that organization is adopting AI or is in the process of adopting AI? Or is that completely out of the picture and the organization should have goals with or without it and just work from that angle?
Yeah, so AI is definitely helpful, and within our company, we are also building a lot of AI skills to help teams operate. So, for example, skills like for generating OKRs, skills for building together a check-in report based on your specific criteria that can be delivered on schedule, for example. So that sort of stuff, I think it helps a lot. The alignment check. So, for example, like before, companies, like quite often they hired a coach who was like sitting and comparing every single line and thinking like, okay, it makes sense, it doesn't make sense, okay, I'm getting, bringing it back to the team, and they check that work. But that is just so much easier on scale, especially for enterprise companies, to have that level of reporting and the ability to ask in natural language where we are, what are the risks. So not going through all the levels, because again, if we're talking about enterprise organizations, they have many, many levels, many of departments. They have tons of metrics, and the executives, they like looking at a couple of dashboards that are made for them. They are not diving into every single detail. It's impossible, but they can ask the question and see those connections. So that is really important. And when we are thinking about planning, it's very important to have the good context. So are we? I can revert back to Rovo OKR generator. There is an option to set up what specific content you allow it to see, and I would say that it's if your Confluence is super messy and outdated, better, have like a couple of pages which would be clean and which would speak
Sure.
directly about your strategy, and limit it to those pages, than,
Yeah.
like making people confused, fitting the whole
Yeah.
thing, because context is very important. And you can give more context to AI. It seems like it can do more with more context, but if this
Yeah.
context became irrelevant, you're getting trapped here. So AI
That's
first,
funny. Yeah.
yes, yes, for sure. You need to use it. Just validate it and think where you use it, where you don't use it. That is
That's
that's
so
the
true. Specifically around the context, I'll tell you a personal example. So, I was working with this marketplace company in somewhere around end of
big.
last year. I took a break and I was working as a consultant with a couple of marketplace companies in our ecosystem, and I wrote some scripts that I was working on for that company, and they were satire. Okay, it was supposed to be funny and satire scripts, but they were written in a language how a meeting minutes would be taken, right? And there were some decisions, like it was a meeting minutes template but a satire AI robot. And then there were, like, if you're a fan of Hitchhikers, so I'm a big fan of Hitchhikers Guide to the Galaxy, how Marvin the paranoid android would take your meeting minutes in a very gloomy and depressed manner, a meeting notes of that. And it's on a parallel Confluence site, okay, which I own, which I have. And on, like, couple of months later, I was just chatting with Rovo and I asked it a question. It picked up some inference from that satire page and gave me an answer. It's like, no, I should need to either exclude that page from the row memory and say, hey, don't go into this parent page. Everything in here is crap or satire or joke, not supposed to pick from here. And that is the true response, because it was there, Robo took it as context and it modified his answer on the basis of that it didn't get the humor in it, right? Like, and it might take ages before AI gets that humor, but, like, yeah, I 100% get it. It's very important for your data to be sanitized, that you feed to any AI system for making a decision, because otherwise, crap in, crap out kind of a model will exist forever.
Yeah, it is, especially, like it might the danger is that these errors, they were obvious to you, Sajid. So you know the
Mm,
drills, and you understand, like, okay,
yeah,
that is an error. But then
yeah,
if there is, for example, a new hire within your company, and they are doing actually the same, they're going to the agent,
yep,
they're trying, like, okay, I will not bother my senior colleagues, I will figure out themselves. And
yeah,
I think they might think that this is, this is legit answer.
true, yeah,
Why not?
yeah,
And they may
yeah, yeah,
act
yeah,
on this answer, and then it's
yeah.
very hard, like, to understand the consequences. So
And that's the worry, right? Like, that's why we say it's tougher. Like, it has to be human first, because otherwise problems like this, yeah. All right, perfect. We're coming towards the end of. We've got like 6 minutes, and folks, if you have a question in chat, please feel free to ask Margot any question that you might have. I see, Bob, your response around the OKRs. It was originated at Intel, right? And Google modified it. Which book? I'm interested to know. Any book recommendations, Margot, specifically for OKRs?
yeah, like the classic Measure What Matters, then Christina Woodke as an author and her radical
Mhm.
focus, for sure. And there is also Jeff Godev, who's doing amazing
Yeah.
work within OKR. Specifically, I think he's very good with the product and engineering teams. So for them, so he's talking a lot about customer centricity and far beyond just, just OKRs as a framework. So
Hmm.
that is a good read. And
Nice.
honestly, like, I'm subscribed on LinkedIn just for different people who are practitioners,
Yeah.
who are coaches, and I learn a lot from them.
People are fans. Margot Shalin says Margot has some great insights. I'm just catching up on chat.
Yeah, that
All
is, that
right.
is so nice to hear. I will drop my LinkedIn, so if anyone has a
Yes.
question afterwards, you are very welcome to reach out to me, and I'll do my best to help. Sajid, can you? I'm not sure if I put it in this
Yeah.
chat. I'm not sure if it appears, so maybe you can
No, no.
drop it in the general
The
one.
link might not work from your system, but I am pasting that link right now as we speak. So, folks, if you have a question specifically around OKR, please feel free to reach out to Margot directly. And or you can always reach out to this channel and we'll know how to find Margot and maybe we'll get her again. So Grace is asking, what are the names of those two other authors? If you can say that again, Grace, I'll type them in the chat.
Yeah. So Christina Wodke, I would recommend. Should I put it in the chat?
Yes,
Or-
if you could just type the name in the chat,
Mhm.
that will be great. All right. If there is no other question, Shalinia, I see your response. Garbage in, garbage out. Still need to have a human verify the results whenever it comes to AI. 100%. All right. Margot has given the names. Radical Focus. I'm definitely going to check out this book. We recommend you guys do as well. Thank you, Margot, for joining us today. It was a super fun conversation, and we're very glad that you could join us. Next week, another super fun guest, King Bob, joins me. I've replaced the
The
Rob with a
king.
Bob.
The
The
king
King Bob,
himself.
yes.
Cool.
Sorry?
The king himself. So that
The
is
king
that is
himself,
an all mix.
yes. And that too, the fun thing is, like, this month we're announcing the return of the trivia championship. So I think 26th or 27th, somewhere around that. But like, yeah, the trivia championship is returning, and like, of course, King Bob has to be there for that as well. And Jimmy, like, you might not have seen Jimmy recently if you've joined community led classes. He's a experienced champion, been in the ecosystem quite a lot of years, but he doesn't make a lot of public appearances. So we are very glad that Jimmy agreed to join us. We're going to talk about community, the power of gaming, charity, and everything in between. So, side hustles, if you are into that, please join us next week and we'll see you there. Thank you, Margot, once again. If people reach out to you, please help them with OKR questions. If you have any question, do check out Oboard as well. This is our first guest who we've had from actually a marketplace partner who's telling us not about the product, but from that ecosystem. So that
Oh,
was
probably
really
I
good to
should.
have. Yeah, do you want to do a 30-second pitch for Oboard? What does Oboard do?
You know what? I will send a link so to everyone who would like to learn more. So you're very welcome to reach out to me, and you can also check our Atlassian Marketplace app. So for all things OKRs, KPIs, your company strategy, that is such a great solution, and it's deeply integrated with Jira and also beyond. So a very nice perk. So if you have those senior executives who hate Jira, we have an app for them that is integrated. So yeah, that was
right.
a good teaser, I hope.
Yes, yeah, definitely. At the end. All right, with that, we bring the show to an end. Thank you once again, Margot. Thank you, everybody who joined us. We'll see you next week. Have a really good weekend. Take care, everybody. It's Indian Independence Day. So, yeah, this weekend is Indian Independence. Thank you. Yes. Tomorrow is India's Independence Day. So, we're very excited. It's going to be a fun weekend. It's on a Saturday. I'm a little sad about that. Like, if it was on a Friday, we would have had a long weekend, but it's still a very fun day. Thank you, everybody, and have a really good weekend.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Every week, they look at the tech and business world and turn let's take this offline into an episode. Updates, reviews, and the occasional interviews. Sound smart? It's not. We just said it with conviction. A lot of smart people already do this. But these guys have a lot of opinions and barely any filters, which maybe should concern you, or not. They seem nice. Anyway, this series comes from people who probably shouldn't be doing more streams, or at the very least, should have left some of their thoughts in a Slack thread. Unread by everyone. And now, this is Rob and Saj Asking for Trouble!